What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Sweat and Iron. I am Graham, your host, and we got Minisode number 8 coming at you. We're on Facebook Live and recording. We're recording. I got one viewer. I don't know who they are. It's Mara. Nice. Frequent flyer on Facebook Live. Hey. All right. Hey, Mara. Do me a favor. Is there a way that you can share this Facebook Live in the F That group? If you could do that, might bring more people on. So it's, what day are we on? We're on Tuesday, the 12th. I think it's Tuesday. Is it still Tuesday? You are a stalker. Tuesday the 12th, and I had 3 days off from the gym, and I had an interesting conversation with somebody that I'll get more into later. But the interesting conversation was, it is so hard to take a break from going to the gym. It is so hard because you're in a routine. So if you get sick or if you get injured or whatever, it's very difficult to want to stay home. Maybe for the first day it's okay because a rest day is nice, but then that second day it's like you got an itch that you can't scratch, and it just stays there. And then you get more irritable and you're just like, I don't want to sit around. And then day 3 happens and you just are like, can't do this anymore. But funny thing was that our dog woke me up this morning it was around 2:40, 2:45, somewhere around there. And she hops off the bed, and she's getting older, and if we don't let her out after she eats, and if she's not out there long enough, then she tends to wake up in the middle of the night, like we do, and be like, oh, I gotta pee real bad or whatever. So she's on the floor here, and she's moaning and groaning, and I'm just like, all right, maybe she's just stretching. But then this is like it's happened multiple times before. So if you don't let her out in time, she starts moaning some more, and then she starts barking, and then it's like, oh hell, now I gotta get out of bed. And then you let her out, but then she doesn't want to go outside. Instead, she wants to go over to her water bowl. And then she acts like she doesn't want to go outside again, and you say, I'm not playing this game, you're going out. So you pick her up and put her outside. She runs around, she does her thing, she goes back inside. And by this point, I guess my brain just couldn't shut off. And just when I started to get it shut off, I had a coughing fit in bed because Friday night, Saturday morning, I came down with this sinus cold thing that was just, so miserable. My sinuses just blew up. And then Sunday and Monday, I just had this massive, you wake up and you sound like you've got the voice of Barry White, and it's very deep. So I had that going on, and I felt miserable. And I felt really bad because I was supposed to interview Nancy last night, Nancy Morrison, and I had to message her yesterday morning because I really wasn't feeling up to talking at all yesterday. I started feeling better closer towards bedtime, but then I had a coughing fit in bed this morning, and you now know that I am dealing with, if I'm really babbling tonight, I'm really sorry. It's because I got about less than 5 hours sleep last night. Worked a full day, and then I decided to go to the gym and bust my ass. I went to the gym today, and I just said, this is it. I'm going. I got to go. I took 3 days off. I got to go. So I busted out chest, shoulders, back, and arms. I just did a full upper body workout. And I'm toying with the idea of, wait for it, tomorrow doing a very, very, very light leg day. It's been a month and a half to 2 months since I've done legs. And I'm going to try it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to knock the weights down big time and get to it and see what happens. And by knock it down big time, I mean it's going to look like I'm a it's going to look like I'm a girly man. I mean, you got to at least start light and then work your way up to wherever. But especially, I don't want to push myself too hard. I want to build up strength and stuff. So that's what I got going on. Fat loss and weight loss looking great. Although I did hit a plateau recently, and I think it's because we went out to dinner Saturday night. And even if you try to eat really well when you go out, it doesn't matter. In my opinion, when you go out, restaurants, they load up with sodium. They load up with a whole bunch of stuff that you don't normally cook with at home because they want to add that extra flavor into everything. So, of course, you can retain water. You can put on a little bit extra fat. I didn't get any desserts from the restaurant. I did get, what's the name of that ice cream that Enlightened. I got a pint of Enlightened instead of eating at the restaurant because I felt that was the healthier choice. Not as much fat, fewer calories, a lot less calories. So, Connie was throwing back Moscow mules left and right. I had to tell the woman, put the cup down, because no, I'm kidding. She doesn't. She only had. I think she had maybe two, maybe one. Maybe two. I don't know. But she loves her Moscow Mule, so if anybody comes to visit us, know that is her drink of choice. Actually, anything with vodka, but Moscow Mules especially. All right, so what do we got going on? If you've been paying attention and have downloaded any of the recent episodes, you will know that I have started posting the episodes for the wrestling trio of episodes. I posted my episode with John, where I interview him about his announcing and hanging out with wrestlers, having wrestlers as a wedding, and all that other stuff, dealing with, since he's not a wrestler, things that he sees, things that he's seen, what he's been inspired by, and then we do a lot of memory lane of what wrestling was, what wrestling's become, and all that other good stuff. The episode this week that I will be posting will be Jason Streets from Louisiana. Jason's had a bumpy road in life, ups and downs, and we discuss that in this episode and how wrestling is his go-to motivation to be a better person. And if you want to know more about that bumpy road, wait for the episode. I'll work on a teaser here probably tomorrow. I usually have it out earlier, but I'll post the teaser tomorrow, and then I'll post the episode Thursday night. I'm really looking forward to posting this one. It's a great episode. I had a lot of fun in talking to him, and I learned a lot. Let's see. This past Friday, before I had my issues with my sinuses, I interviewed Aaron Aguilera out in California. This guy is really cool. He had a short span in the WWE. He went up against John Cena and spent a great deal of his time in Japanese wrestling. And I'm just going to leave it at that. We talk a little bit. We talk a lot about wrestling, and we cover. It was just a fun episode. A lot of great stories. Okay, and here's an episode that I know Larry's been waiting for because Larry wants to know more about this topic. I'm sure there's other people out there too. I need to put a disclaimer on this episode because I don't want people to get the wrong opinion of why I did what I did. The episode that I'm going to be airing sometime after the wrestling episodes are all posted, which will probably be in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'll post this episode. The interview I did, I was doing for my own knowledge and for the knowledge of other people out there that were curious about this lifestyle, this choice people make. Some of us go to the gym and stay natural, natty, right? What that means is we will use supplements when necessary, but other than that, the only thing that some people might use is, a pre-workout that has a shit ton of caffeine in it, right? Well, there are some people out there who decide to go the extra step and try other things, put other things into their body in order to push their bodies to extreme limits because they want that mass, they want extra muscle, and they've got goals. They want to do bodybuilding shows, and if you're doing IFBB, if you're trying to get your pro card in the IFBB, a lot of people will tell you that you won't get anywhere unless you use gear, unless you use roids, whatever term you want to throw around. There's a lot of terms, and there's a lot of different varieties out there. And this episode that I'm referring to is not an episode where I want the listeners to say, oh, he's trying to tell me to use roids. No, it's actually more of I'm leaving it up to you to decide what you want to do. Sure, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm actually just saying, hey, this is this mysterious side of lifting weights that we all hear about, but nobody wants to talk about. And if you talk about it, you get blackballed because nobody wants to represent somebody that's openly using roids, even though a lot of people do it. And in this episode, I talked to a guy. His name is Mr. X. He didn't give me his name. I don't know his phone number. I got linked up with him through a mutual friend. Never met the guy. So if you want to know more info about him, I can't help you. But know that this episode is a very long episode. I talked to him for over 2 hours. So I got over 2 hours of amazing content. And I think I'm going to have Connie help me with the intro for that one. It's going to be fun because I'm really getting into this whole having Connie help me with the intro, especially when she hasn't listened to the episode yet, because then I can really ask her questions and get honest opinions about what she thinks about the topic I'm going to be covering and what she might think that a person's going to say and stuff like that. So there was that. I still have to interview my friend with the anorexia and her eating disorders and her body dysmorphia issues, but something came up with her, and we had to postpone that interview due to I had to postpone a bunch of interviews this weekend because due to my me not feeling well, and I was a stupid husband and booked interviews when I also had a date night set up, so there's that too. But I realized it like the night before or the morning of. I was like, oh, it's date night. We're going to have to move our interview. So there's that. Let's see. So coming this weekend, I am interviewing Rob Best, his MMA, and he's going to have some excellent news to share with me this weekend. I follow him on Facebook and Instagram. And I met him via Chandra, so thank you, Chandra, very much. I have this weekend booked for him, and I have next weekend booked for him, but he told me that this weekend should definitely work, and I'm very, very excited to be talking to him. I mean, let's face it, I'm excited to talk to everybody. It's just each interview is a nice opportunity for me to learn, and it's an excellent opportunity for everybody out there listening to learn as well, because I've been getting quite the variety lately of guests, and that just it adds a little bit of spice to this show. Instead of just having another fat loss story here, another this, another that. It's kind of like everybody has their own story lately, and I'm really digging it. And I hope you all are enjoying it too. Let's see. I still have to post the episode of keto. I talked to, in this episode, it's going to be a 2-for-1 interview. We got Kristen, who was in a previous episode of How Canada Got Fit. If you guys haven't listened to that one, it's a really fun one where I talked to her about everything she's tried. It's a fat loss story, but it's also a fitness journey where she discusses how she's gained knowledge in fitness, counting calories, combining the two, and then going off on her own and finding what works best for her, because she's not one person who has just stuck with one thing. She finds something, and if it seems to work, she's like, okay, sure. But then if it stops working, she tries to look for something else rather than beat her head against a wall of, why is this not working? So she's tried a bunch of stuff. Some of it has been enjoyable. Some of it you'll see in that episode is not enjoyable. Anyway, so I talked to her about keto, and she talks to me about a relative of hers who's on keto. And then I talked to Nikki a little bit about keto. I think we did about a 20-minute interview. The whole episode is going to run maybe an hour, 45 minutes to an hour combined between the two interviews, I'm thinking. I had to catch Nikki on the way from work to picking up her kids, so I talked to her in the car. So in that episode, you're going to hear some road noise, some blinking lights, and all sorts of stuff in the background that I just can't take out. But her voice comes through pretty well, so she had a lot of information to share, personal knowledge on the topic of knowing people who've been on the diet. We don't just bash keto. I mean, it's hard not to bash keto for multiple reasons, but we do talk about benefits. And when I say benefits, I'm doing it in quotation marks now, benefits. So we're not totally bashing keto altogether. You gotta wait for the episode and listen to both sides. It's an episode where I'm giving you both sides of the diet. I'm not just saying, don't do it. No, it's stupid. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So, I mean, I'm giving you both. So that's going to be a fun episode. All right, I still have to air the Josh and Larry episode. And just a heads up, everybody, when it comes to this episode, take everything with a grain of salt, because it's a no-filter episode. And I try not to go off the rails too much, but when I'm around Larry and Josh, I don't know. I try to contain myself, but they bring out the asshole in me. So prepare yourself for no filter. And I don't mean just swearing. I just mean thoughts just pop out, and we just talk about anything and everything. Because those two guys, they're really good at that, and they're really good at bringing that out in me. Let's see. Once again, if you've been up to date on my postings, I also posted a bonus episode of Sandra on, I think it was Sunday. Sandra talks to me about her travel around the world, how her work requires her to travel around the world, and we cover how she keeps up with her nutrition and fitness, because it can be quite tricky between the time zone changes and finding gyms and having to meet protein goals where you're going. It's very rough when you're on the road constantly, or in the air, as her case is. All right, so those are all the recorded ones that I have ready to go. Let me just do some quick searching here to make sure. All right, so we got the Roids conversation. We got Larry and Josh. We've got the keto episode, and yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and then Aaron's episode. I got to put that up too. So I've got a whole bunch of interviews lined up again. So thank you, everybody, for reaching out to me. Very excited to do this. Very excited. If you've been wanting to reach out to me and you haven't yet, please send me a message on Facebook Messenger. Find me on Instagram. You can reach out to Connie if you want to. I'm open to any ideas, women especially. I'd like to get more women on here. I feel like I've had a lot of guys on here, but if if we can get some more women on here to talk about whatever you'd like to discuss that is related to fitness and nutrition somehow tied into this, let's do it. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell, man. I mean, I can't really think of much more to cover at this time. I guess that's it. All right. Well, Minisode number 8 is done, and it's less than 30 minutes, people. All right. So you know what that means? That means I'm going to go eat some more food because I've got about 300 calories left in my day after I eat this fig bar. I'm going to go eat those calories. I'm going to go sit down and play a video game because everybody's falling asleep, and then I'm going to pass out. I'm probably going to pass out really early tonight as soon as my endorphins and caffeine wear off, which will be any minute now. All right, everybody. Until next time, you guys keep setting your goals and keep at it.